Good morning, one and all. Today we are discussing about Right to Education Act. This is originally this act they are called as the Right of Children for Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009, but it is coming to force from 1st April 2009. What is this act? This act completely related to education as a fundamental right. We have discussed everything in a series of situations and the chronological order, the implementation, the objectives, everything. Okay, we are entering. So I'll try to insert one video, but it's missing. Okay, anyway, I want to show you afterwards. So what is this? RTE. So RTE is a very landmark act in Indian education system. After Indian independence, we are trying to achieve our primary education goal or 100% literacy. It's not achieved for last even 7 decades. So that's why the government of India plans to not plans to give a guarantee to the right to education under fundamental rights. So what is this? What is really what is this act? So now we'll discuss. India's landmark Right to Education Act is in 2009 completes its decennial anniversary. Further renewed focus on, because already it's 10 years is over, focus on seeking and higher education. The right to education remains one of the most important catalysts for India's to rapid, much anticipated demographic. For last, already it's 10 years is over. After 10 years, the impact of right education is very much on demographic. Demographic divide means the literacy and illiteracy. Much impact. The changing the scenario in the education sector also. And what is Right to Education Act? Right to Education Act is provided free and compulsory education to children in 2009 and enforced it as a fundamental. Fundamental right means in our Indian constitution we are having two types of rights: fundamental rights and fundamental rights. We are called as constitutional rights, and the second one is direct principles of state policy. State policy. The state is ready to provide, ready to give you some of the rights, but it's not compulsory. But the fundamental rights are it's very they can go on. The government is ready to provide, or if the government is failed to give the rights, an individual also go to court and get the rights. So this is a fundamental right under Article 21. Article 21 is originally a right to life. The right to life, the first subclass is that is the right to education. That is the right to education. Why it's why Right to Education Act? Is it needed? Yes, right to education is serves as a building block to ensure that every child has his or her right to get quality elementary education. This is also it's not for entire primary, secondary, and higher education, but it's the right to education is for elementary education only. This is given a right to elementary education. So that is also in a quality manner, in a quality education to the all the children of Indians. What is the background of this right to education? How it came into force and what is the background and history of this? Originally, Part 4 of Indian Constitution, Article 45 and Article 39 on the DPSPs. I'm already told you that DPS means that principles of state policy have provision for state-funded as well as equitable access to education. This is not a compulsory, but the government is trying to take care of this right, these rights. DPSPs. DPSPs, the government is take care of. It's not a compulsory right, but it's already there in our Indian Constitution, part 4. Part 4, that is Articles of 45 and 39. The first official document on right to education was Ramurthy Report on 1990. The first official document on right to education was Ramurthy Committee in 1990. This is comes after 1986 education policy. It's implementation some of the problems faced by the government of India, even the stakeholders. So that's why the government of India appointed a committee on NEP 1986. The prominent committee name is Ramurthy Committee. In 1990, the Ramurthy Committee gave his interim report and it's give a thought-provoking towards right to education. Right to education. And after that, another important landmark judgment in 90s is in 1993, the Supreme Court landmark judgment in Unnikrishnan JP versus State of Andhra Pradesh, and other held that education is a fundamental right for following from the Article 20. A very landmark judgment in Indian education, or for the payment for the way to right to education is this is a landmark judgment in 1993. That is Unnikrishnan JP versus State of Andhra. This is one of the first case go in front of the courts regarding the education is a fundamental right. I will give you the background of this. A small story is there. Story means it's not. It's a real story. Hey, Unnikrishnan is from Kerala. He's migrated to Hyderabad with his family, and he's tried to admit his son into nearby schools, even in private and government, because he is migrated in the middle of the year. None of the school is ready to give the admission, and he approaches to education department. He fails, and he took the support from or help from local politicians also. It's not coming to materialize, and everybody and everywhere he is not get the justice, and his son is not get into the education system or not get the seat. So then he approaches to High Court of Andhra Pradesh at that time. The High Court gave a judgment. First of all, it can provide a seat, and why don't you think about uh, the education is a fundamental right. It also issue the notice to the central government and as well as state government and education department of the state. So after this judgment, the center and state both of them go to approaches to Supreme Court. Go to Supreme Court. It's went on. It's 6 to 7 years, long deliberations in front of the court. And then in 1999, in the meanwhile, in the 1999, the Tapas Mazumdar Committee in 1999 set up. It's composed insertion of Article 21. In 1999, the Supreme Court gave a final judgment and also give the directions to the central government or government of India. The education is a fundamental right. Why don't you think on these lines? So immediately, the Tapan Mazumdar Committee is appointed in 1999. It ensures encompass and installation of Article 21 here. In the name of 86th Amendment of the Constitution of India in 2002 provided right to education as a fundamental right in Part 3 of the Constitution. After all these things happened in the 2002 Government of India in the Parliament, in the name of 86th Amendment of the Indian Constitution, provides right to education as a fundamental right. Fundamental right in Part 3 of the Constitution. Same amendment insisted Article 21A, which made right to education as a fundamental right to children between 6 to 14 years. What is this? It's also give a right the age group between 6 to 14 years. The 86th Amendment Act provides for a follow-up legislation for Right to Education Bill in 2008, and its finally Right to Education Act is in 2009, and it's come into force from 1st April 2009. It's almost we are completed 10 years of Right to Education Act in India. In the world, just in this context, I want to add 1 or 2 points related to right to education. In the world, out of 205 countries, India is the 124th country as a right to education. We are very late. Many small countries, they are already have their constitution. The constitution gives a right to education in many countries. In many countries, developed and underdeveloped developing countries, like even Vietnam and all, almost they are 20 to 30 years back. They are with the right even in many South Asian countries. But in India, we are finally in 2009. This act is coming to existence and coming to force from 2010 onwards. Next, what are the features of this Right to Education Act in 2009? The RTE Act aims to provide primary education to all children aged 6 to 14 years. Enforce education as a fundamental right, Article 21. As a right, Article 21. So Article 21 means it's a right, the right to live for survival. The education is also one of the major factors. So that's why the article they are included in 21. The Act mandates 25% of reservation for disadvantaged sections of the society where the disadvantaged groups are included. Here, one thing is, the first important point is, a feature is this act is, every child of India is guaranteed from 6 to 14 years free and compulsory education. And it's a compulsory. Nobody will deny, even parents also. Parents is also denied to send their children to school. They are liable to the criminal offense. It's treated as a criminal offense. It's almost in prison up to minimum 5 to 7 years. It's very stringent act in India. And this act is also says another important thing is, this is for even all the educational institutions in India. This act is also says mandates 25% of the reservation for the disadvantaged. Does not do any specific reservations to anyone. Please don't 25% of reservations for not only for only SCSTs, those who are disadvantaged. They are disadvantaged means comes under everybody in the society, in the stakeholders of the comes under education system. Those who are economically backward or poor or maybe orphans, whatnot. Those who are in that area depend upon the geographical location also. It's take consideration. Sections of the society where disadvantaged groups includes SCs, STs, socially backward classes, differently able, and it comes under many things. If you want to go through the BEAR Act, you can find out many clauses, many clauses. This is compulsory for even private schools, even corporate schools. Means a very popular schools. So they are also give 25% of the reservations. It also makes provision for non-admitted child to be admitted into an age-appropriate class. This is another important. This is the third one. The first one is 6 to 14 years. Second one is disadvantaged groups are get 25% of reservations. All the children, if any children, apart from common reservations, this also makes provision for non-admitted children to be admitted to an age-appropriate class. Based on the age, they can admit it into class and they will take care of it. For example, the child is not entering to even, they are not enrolled in the school or admitted into school. Their age is 7 years. Means 7 years means they are in the second class, either first or second class. Or maybe based on their age. Even in the age, they can admitted and they will, the school and the system will be take care of for all these academic activities. It also states that sharing of financial and other responsibilities between the center and state. The sharing of the financial responsibilities are equally taken care by the state and center, or depend upon the composition from the state and center in an equitable or maybe in a sharing basis. It lays down on norms and standards related to another important thing. This is a major uh, major norms are laid down in this act is people teacher ratio. It's maintained. It's a right to education act. It's minimize the teacher people ratio in the classroom. It's generally it's comes under DPEP is 1:40. Even the Sarosek Shepan come down to it's 1:25. Maybe and this accordingly the need even 1:15 is the ideal. This is approved by many studies. Is 1:10 to 1:15 in between. The class is very good, but the Indian conditions is it's not possible at present, but we hope the best. And second thing is buildings and infrastructure. Buildings and infrastructure. This is also another important thing. So they can the act is insisted to provide good buildings and infrastructure like drinking water facility, toilets, laboratories, and whatnot, even libraries and etc. And another thing is school working days is also minimum school working days is must for under Right to Education Act. So minimum is 210 days according to at present. And teaching working hours also. The teaching working hours is also minimized, and the teacher qualifications also. Teachers minimum qualification is without the bachelor of education or diploma in education. They are not eligible to teach in school level. And at the same time, they can pass a central or state eligibility test also. So these are the main important features of Right to Education Act 2009. And we're also we are also continuing some other important points. It had a clause of no detention policy. There is no detention. No child is detained in the same class for 2 years. Within the stipulated time, they can complete their entire syllabus and they can learn minimum learning levels. Then they can promote it to next class. So, because why these detention policies once again are discussed in this act means so minimize the wastage and stagnation. Wastage and stagnation. We are spending crores of rupees. Still, we are detained for every child. So the quality and at the same time the dropout rate is also high. The previous experience we are having, or the child will be lose their interest on education is also the right of free and compulsory education in 2000. Its amendment already it's done after 2013, 1213 related to no detention. It also provides for prohibition of Department of Teachers for non-educational work. This is another important educational work other than decennial census, elections and local authority, state legislation and parliament and other disaster relief. Another important thing is the teachers are assigned different kinds of works before 2010, before Right to Education Act. Many teachers, they are assigned to many different kinds of works related to government, even surveys and all, but it's minimized. The specified duties are also given in this act. What are the duties are? Decennial census means population census, elections to local authority, state legislation, parliament, only election duties, and disaster relief. If any time it's a disasters have happened, so they are all part of none other than activities. None other than activities. The government is also not assigned to any teachers. This is for government schools. It provides for the appointment of teachers with the requisite entry into academic qualifications. So we're already discussing the minimum qualification is teacher training or teacher education degree is not there. They're not eligible. They're not eligible. So this is take care of. This is also taking care of this act. Afterwards, the NCT is also changed many his statutes also accordingly. We can discuss in the teacher education. And it prohibits physical punishment and mental harassment. Another important clause or important thing also discussed in this act is given a right or it's prohibits physical punishment. There is no physical punishment and mental harassment. They're not scolding. They're not using abusing words, and they never give any physical punishment. It's a crime also. It's a crime also. Even recently, maybe one and a half year back, one teacher is also punished with the same point. One teacher is dismissed from the service. This judgment is given by Supreme Court, not by the even High Court. High Court is also. So it's very serious offense. Screening procedure for admission of the child. There is no screening procedure. Even before this act, many institutions they are conducting for even preschooling also. They are conduct interviews to the children and parents, whatnot. It's many different kinds of examinations are there. But after this act, all the screening procedures are abolished. They are not allowing. This act is not allowed any screening procedure. But some institutions already they have taken permissions from the Supreme Court is also like JNV and some residential schools in state level, and very few institutions, not all the schools and all the institutions. Very few institutions they are taking permission from the Supreme Court also for screening procedure, means entrance examinations like that, and small interviews like that for entering. But it's not a compulsory. It's not a compulsory also. And fee capitation fee. Nobody is demanding capitation fee. So this is everybody knows. Like in the name of capitation fee, they can spend. The parents are ready to. They can spend even lakhs of rupees in some of the schools. And private tuitions by teachers. Everybody knows the teachers are taking care of the private tuitions in their off school hours, but it's also prohibited. It's not give any chance to the teachers. They can work within the school hours only, and there is no private affairs related to academics also. Running of schools without recognition. This is another important feature in this Right to Education Act. Running schools without recognition. So after this, when the act came into force at that time in India, almost more than 60 lakh schools are without any recognition. It's going on. Afterwards, nowadays, after 10 years, it's almost all these schools are recognized. All these schools are recognized by the government of India, or maybe they respect to state governments and the education department in the country. So all schools are recognized. If any school is still going on without recognition, it's the school is not valid. The education system is their whatever their share certificates are issued, or they're not eligible to. The students is also not eligible to the government uh, uh, facilities and all. So this is also another important thing. It's focus on making the child free of fear, trauma, and anxiety through a system of child-friendly and child-centered learning. So finally, this act main objective is to focus on making the child free of fear, trauma, and anxiety through a system of child-friendly and child-centered learning. So these are the important features of this act. And after 10 years, what are the achievements of Right to Education Act? It's 2009. After this, the RTE Act has successfully managed and increased the enrollment in the upper primary classes up to 6 to 8. 6 to 8. We are achieving this is a very, very good achievement after this act. Stretcher infrastructure norms resulted in the improving the schools infrastructure, especially in the rural areas. Rural areas nowadays, I'm not saying it's 100% good infrastructure, but it's improving for last 10 years. The additional classrooms, even whitewashing, benches, even some schools are provided with labs and libraries, and even teachers also appointment of teachers. So more than 3.3 million students secured admission under 20% of the quota under non-RT. More than 3.3 million students are secured under admission under 20% of the quota. But still, in this point, I want to add another thing. Still, some of the states are not follow this 20% of the quota still today, because of some not only loopholes in this act, are the governments are not taking serious, but for the even the government, especially in the private schools, the government schools are followed almost all the schools. It made education inclusive and essential national, accessible national. Okay, for this act, it's very good initiation for inclusion. But those who are away from the education system or out of school, everybody come under this act, and everybody get the right to go to education. You can admit any time in the entire academic year. There is no time limit for admission also, or you can move to one place to another, and you will get in without any problem. The child can admit it into any school, because the availability of resources means seats. They can move any nook and corner of the country. From Jammu Kashmir to Kanyakumari, they can go. They can get the seat even northeast to any south or west or anywhere. Nowadays, it's a very inclusive and a very effective for admission. And removal of non-detention policy has brought accessibility in the elementary education. There is no detention, so it's many of them, they are admitted and they are promoted to the next classes. They can improve their learning levels, and they improve the literacy rate in India for last 10 years. If you want, you can compare with last 10 years educational statistics. It gives a valid authenticated information. The government has also launched an integrated scheme of school education named Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. So after this act, even in 2002, that's why we're already discussing Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan Abhiyan topic. So started in 2003. Because of this Right to Education Act, the Government of India take a policy, a program, the flagship program, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. And after that, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan Mission for higher secondary level. And after that, centrally sponsored stream for teachers also, for teacher education in the name of Madan Mohan Malaviya, or many central schemes for teachers also. There are all some important integrated schemes are started after Right to Education Act. The influence of Right to Education Act, and some achievements is also there, and at the same time advantages is also there, and some limitations of in this act is also there. So that area also we will discuss now. The age group of which Right to Education is available range from 6 to 14 years only. 6 to 14 years, which can be made more inclusive and encompassing by the expanding to 0 to 18 years. Okay. Initially, what is the limitation in this Act? 2009 means only 6 to 14 years. In general, in Indian system, 6 means maybe it's a first year to 14 means it's 8 or 9 plus. It's not take care of the higher secondary level. But in Indian education system, it's a K to 12, means up to 12th class. So this is a limitation in this act, but it will expand 0 to 18 years is a good. Say 0 to 18 years is a good initiative. They are encompassing and expanding up to 0 to 18 years. Before in 2009, there the act. Please listen carefully. In 2009, this act gives a guarantee from 6 to 14 years only. Now we are in 2020, and recently our Indian government approved our new education policy. In the new education policy, they have changed the norms from 3 to 18 years. Means it's included higher education. Higher secondary also. Maybe this is another change in the last course of time, in the last 10 years. Once upon a time, it's a limitation. Now it comes. It's whatever our idea. It's we are fulfilled. But according to 2009, this is only limited to 6 to 14 years. 6 to 14 years, and once again, the Government of India take care of this new education. According to new education policy, they can amend this act is also. Maybe in future, maybe coming sessions they will take care of. Coming parliament sessions, they will take care of. There is no focus on quality of learning as well as shown by the multiple SCR reports. There are many education reports. All India state education reports says that there is no there is no focus on quality of learning, because the quality of learning depends upon the teachers, infrastructure and all. But this is also for last 10 years, it's not that much of happy reports from different states. But the RTE Act appears to be mostly input oriented. So this is also another laguna in this limitation in this act is their focus. There is no focus on quality learning. Their quality means it's a satisfaction, because the general idea of quality means when we are using any product, we will enjoy the happiness, or maybe. So this is a little bit less, or maybe using also any product or anything. The quality of learning shows by the multiple SCR reports. Thus, RTE Act appears to be mostly input oriented. So this is a small, not small. It's a limitation in this act, and this is also we are in future we will address. Means the government. The 5 states, namely Goa, Manipur, Mizoram, Sikkim, and Telangana, have not even issued notifications regarding 25% of the seats for underprivileged children for society under RTE. not only these are all, it's not officially, but many states openly we will discuss on this issue as a teachers, or we are from the education department. Maybe not these 5 states. Many states they are issuing these 25% of reservations, issuing GOs or maybe uh, any other related educational orders, but they are not implementing uh, proper properly. Also, if they are implemented out of other states also, even very few 5 states means including union territories and all. Now nowadays it's a 34. Out of 34, it's a 5, but even many states is not up to the mark. And still some of the schools, I'm not saying all the schools, some of the schools are not take even in they're not providing this 25% of seats, and the appointment of teachers is also they are deviating their qualifications especially. And second thing is they have not take permissions from, that is a recognition from this some of the schools. I'm not some of the schools you can go through because I'm not openly now. You can go through some of the schools. Still, they're not take any permission. In more focus is being given over statistics of RTE rather than a quality of life. They're always collecting the data from the different states, from the education statistics. They're not too important. This is also another criticism or even a limitation on this. And lack of teachers affect people-teacher ratio maintained by RTA, which in turn affects on the quality of teaching. Lack of teachers of affect people-teacher ratio mandated by the RTE, which is turn affects the quality of learning. This is also another thing we already. Some of the schools are still. This is my personal experience, even in my hometown, and even Sikkim is also. Some of the schools are more than the teacher people ratio is more than even 40, even more than 40. 1:40 is also even primary level, secondary level, and some of the subject for some of the subjects there is no teachers for like maths and sciences in many places, and even they don't have even a good teaching learning material also. These are all hamper the teaching and learning, and quality of teaching is also affects. There are all some limitations and steps to be taken. We already discussed the qualities and all, and limitations, and now achievements we are already seeing, limitations we are seeing. Next, what kind of steps to be taken for a better implementation of this right to education? Mandatory area schools need to be brought under RT. Mandatory area schools means like even Muslims, what do you call it? Muslims, Christians, and Buddhists, and many minor religions. They are running the religious schools in the religious premises. In the religious premises. So they're not taught the regular curriculum in their schools. They're taught in different kind of means. They're religious men. So this is also brought into the right education act. It's good. Uh, and more focus on teacher training programs. So this is also like an Indian system, and this right to education act is also some loopholes in teacher training programs. Also now the government of India and NCT try to minimize the what do you call its mandatory policy issues. Before 2008 NCTA Act, the B.Ed teachers, the B.Ed teacher trainees or B.Ed graduates are eligible to teach only in secondary level. But in 2018, once again, the NCTE Act is amended 2018 July. Yes, in 2018 July, the government of India is also enacted, and the parliament is also accepted the NCTE statutory norms also. So the BEd teachers, the BEd graduates can teach in the primary level. Before in 2009, it's not possible to teach in the primary level. Only diploma teachers they can. And at the same time, in 2018, the government of India take another drastic decision that the BEd program instead of 2 years, it's 4 years as like a professional course. And still, the continuation of 2 years BEd program is continue after graduation, but they are encouraging 4 years integrated professional teacher training program. This is also very initiative step. But once upon a time, when the 2009 Act, all these things are not addressed, but afterwards one by one. But nowadays we are sort outing. We means the government of India, the quality and more focus on teacher training programs and teacher education curriculum also nowadays it's taken care of. And quality of education needs to be emphasis over quantity of education. Quality of education needs to be emphasized over quality of education. This is also another steps to be taken. Steps should be taken to make the teaching profession as a attractive. So this is another important steps should be taken to make the teaching profession attractive. Yes, this is very important because many of them initially, is my experience of almost for last 17 to 18 years. Many students they're attracted towards teaching profession. They're entered to the teaching profession, then and left because of the globalization, the changing scenario in the society, and not only that, it's many things, even salary, other benefits, and they're also quit this profession and they join in other profession. And many of them they're easily inserted in other professions also. Another important thing I wanted to quote it here. So definitely, those who are entering into the teaching profession, they can continue until unless their retirement. Retirement means they're lost. Because nowadays we need very good teachers. Society as a whole needs to be supportive of education for children without basis. Society as a whole needs to support of education for children without this. So society also give their support. They are the stakeholders. We are involved in the educational process, education system, or we are give appropriate role to the public also. Then the education system will be flourish because the India is also flourish. The India is becoming a superpower in 21st century. So these are the steps are taken, uh, steps to be taken under Right to Education Act. These are all some suggestions, and day by day, it's a lot of changes is coming. You also add some more your points and some more things, and we move forward. We're already seen. We're already discussed about steps. Then way to forward. It has been 10 years since the implementation of RTE, but it can be seen that it still has a long way to go to be called successful in its purpose. Definitely. For last 10 years, we are very successful and it's very purposeful at bring into the Indian, bring the Indian Constitution and Indian government. That is, it's no doubt about it. And creation of conclusive atmosphere, conduct atmosphere and supply of resources would pave the way for a better future of individuals as well as the nation as well as. So for not only for an individual, better future for the individual as well as the national. So we already discussed because the nation is developed, the individual is developed, definitely the society will develop. The society will develop, the state will be developed, the state will be developed, the nation, whole nation will be developed and get advantage. The nation is developed, we are the superpower in this world, or we are in the 21st century. And finally, some important things I wanted to discuss here: the no detention policy. So this Right to Education Act is taken another amendment in 2013 on no detention policy. About I want to give before closing my lecture. The no detention policy was introduced a part of the continuous comprehensive evaluation under the Right to Education Act in 2000. Under this policy, students up to class 8 are automatically promoted to the next class without being held back even if they do not get a passing grade. The policy was to ensure that no child admitted in school shall be held back in any class, expelled from the class until the completion of elementary education. Means up to 6 to 14 years, no child will detain or no child will retain in the same class for one not more than 1 year. But recently it has been removed by the RTA Mandate Act in 2019. This act is already amended. So amended and it's removed. I don't know. Maybe in the new education policy they are in other way. They are try to implement. Try to implement. So this is also we are take care of maybe in future what is happening. So that's why we already discussed the no detention policy. Now again the detention policy is there, but we'll see what kind of detention is come into force or what kind of legislation will be come. We'll see. This is about whole about Right to Education Act. Thank you very much. I hope this lecture is you are enjoying, you are getting some more knowledge about the Right to Education Act and many successful stories and some problems in RTA also. Please everybody take care of it. Just you can give your feedback, give your opinions. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you and have a nice day.